Welcome back to Your Fantasy Nerd. Today we're going to be talking about the top 15 tight ends. We're going to quickly show you the 1 through 10 right here. Rounding it is number 1 tight end, clearly Rob Gronkowski. 2 is Jimmy Graham. 3, Greg Olsen. 4, Travis Kelce. Number 5, Martellus Bennett. Number 6, Antonio Gates. Number 7, Julius Thomas. Number 8, Dwayne Allen. Number 9, Jason Witten. And number 10, Zach Ertz. First guy we're going to highlight is Jimmy Graham. Now, Jimmy Graham being traded from New Orleans to Seattle. I think that's really interesting because I don't know. Do you think he'll be better?
That's cash money for Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did they get a steal on him?
He'll be better in New Orleans.
Or? Oh, 100% better. I know. Drew Brees is a great quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but they don't really have a number 1 established wide receiver in Seattle. They never have when they've been successful, and I don't think it. He will probably draw a lot of attention. Marshawn Lynch is a stud. But don't get me wrong, Jimmy Graham, he'll get touchdowns, man. And he'll spread out the field so much more for Russell Wilson actually to run the ball. Look for him to run and have higher rushing stats than he had last year. So the whole middle of the field will be taken away and they're going to draw to the middle and watch him run that speed option this year. Not the read, the speed this year.
That's an interesting talk about him being on the field for running plays. They've been really concerned about his blocking ability down in Seattle and his inability to block. He's never really had the block
because he lined up
as a wide receiver so often with the Saints, and now if he goes into that more traditional tight end role, which is what he'd probably be because they don't really go 3 wide in Seattle.
But I think the spread offense. Do you guys agree with me? Do you think the spread offense helps him or not?
I'll say this. I think there's a stat. The number 1 targeted receiver in Seattle last year.
Was it Kurtz?
No, it was Doug Baldwin. Didn't even have 100 targets. I'm not saying Jimmy Graham's not going to get 100 targets, but I think his targets are definitely going to be much lower, and I think you can expect him to have a much worse season than in Seattle.
And another thing is he going to stay healthy?
That's always, yeah. But he's clearly the number 2 tight end, I think. It's just that, is he worthy of a second-round pick or not? I say he's not. I think he's like a third-round pick. So,
yeah.
Next guy we'll go to is Travis Kelce, number 4 from Kansas City. That offense just doesn't throw the ball that much.
Well, I got a wide receiver now. I don't know if it'll help Alex Smith because he's terrible, but Kelce's a stud. He's huge, big target to throw to. He's got great hands. You don't see drops out of him. He'll be another red zone guy when they get down there. Obviously, they had no. I know he's not a wide receiver, but now they got Macklin. I think he'll may take a little more attention and maybe give him some more room to make some plays. And I think he's definitely top 5. I still think all these. Besides Gronk, I think anyone could be 2 to 5 on here.
Yeah. I think the thing with Kelce is that the team didn't really change all that much besides Bo and Macklin, who are, I think, similar skill sets. And I think that with Travis Kelce's situation, he was, I think, in the top 5 in tight ends last year. I see him repeating that. I think he gets maybe 8-9 touchdowns.
Is he going to be more of the touchdown?
Yeah, he'll rely on touchdowns. He will not
be
get
like
yards.
Gates of last year.
Yeah. I see him doing that. But and then to round out the top 5, we have Martellus Bennett. We're going to talk about. I know you like him.
I like Martellus Bennett a lot. I think he's been overlooked a lot with what he can do, his skill set, and I think with the absence of Brandon Marshall this year, he could have a great year in the Chicago passing offense. Jay Cutler, obviously an inconsistent quarterback, but he can throw the ball pretty well, and he gets the ball to his guys. You saw Marshall and Jeffries had put up huge numbers. I think Bennett could have a big year, scoring a lot and just putting up big chunks of yards.
I agree, because now you got 2 deep threats on the Bears, and they'll open up the field for him. He had a great year last year. He gets touchdowns. He does get a good amount of yards for a tight end, I would say. And you look for him to have a big year this year. I think the Chicago Bears offense will be much improved.
Yeah.
Can't get much worse.
I think with the Bears offense, like I said earlier, they're looking for the future. So obviously I don't think Bennett's part of their future. I'm not saying he's going to have like some sort of terrible season. But I don't know if I like him as a top 5 tight end. I'd probably put him at like 6 or 7 or 8 maybe. I don't know, but I don't know. I like Bennett. I don't see him doing like what everyone thinks he might do.
Well, you still have him in the top 5.
I don't, but together we all do.
Where do you have him?
I think I have him at 7.
Okay.
So just my opinion. And now we're going to move to our bottom of the 15, 11 through 15. Number 11, Jordan Cameron. Number 12, Josh Hill. Number 13, Delanie Walker. 14, Owen Daniels. And 15, Larry Donnell. First guy we're going to target, I know Charlie Seidels loves him.
Josh Hill. You love a tight end?
I love Josh Hill. This guy's a big guy. I think he's 6'5", coming from Idaho State. He's a young player. and I think he's going to fill that Jimmy Graham role. Not quite with what Jimmy Graham
Benjamin Watson still
does.
there?
I don't think so.
But he's not quite going to be Jimmy Graham, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough to beat Jimmy
That's
Graham.
a
But he's
hard-
still going to have a good year with Drew Brees.
Did you know that he had like 5 touchdowns with like 10 catches last year?
Josh Hill, see?
Clear red zone threat.
Yeah. I mean, I love Josh Hill. He's top 10.
Where-
top
top
5
10?
tight end. Maybe.
Top 5, okay.
Maybe.
That's-
If he could eclipse that. He's a young player. He's got a shot.
He could. I don't know.
I don't know much about him.
I don't
think
either.
as you're going into New Orleans, you have Drew Brees, you got Brandon Cooks, not an overwhelming amount of targets, and obviously they love their tight end game in New Orleans, so you can't not think he's gonna have a good year based on prior. I know he's not like you can't really live up to Jimmy Graham, but
I think
for Josh Hill to have a pretty mediocre to maybe above average year.
See, I think the thing with Josh Hill, why I don't like him as much as he does, is that Jimmy Graham is just a tremendous talent that made New Orleans look like a tight end heavy offense when they're probably really not. They really just had a great tight end at that position. For instance, Jimmy Graham going to Seattle, everyone's going to now say Seattle's going to throw to their tight end because it's Jimmy Graham. But they were never a tight end heavy offense. So I just think that's kind of the similar situation here. I just think Breeze is going to hit Spiller, Cooks,
So
Colston.
where do you have?
I don't have him in my top
because
15.
I don't have him in my top.
I don't
15.
either.
See, I have him in my top 10. Maybe could be a top 5. We haven't seen a ton of Josh Hill, but what I've seen I like, and what I see New Orleans doing with their tight ends I like, and I like his size. I watched him play a game at Idaho State once. I liked what he did.
That's fair. And then our last guy we're going to highlight is number 13, Delanie Walker. I know you like Delanie Walker.
I do like him. I think Mariota's going to have a killer year versus Jameis Winston. Just wait for
Really?
week 1. You'll see that. It's just going to be unbelievable. I don't think Tampa Bay will be good at all. I don't like Winston at all. I think Mariota will translate well in the NFL. I think he's got a... Don't get me wrong, Winston has a great arm, but I think Mariota decision-making is much stronger, and that's ultimately how you have to be a good quarterback. You can't be turning over the ball if you want to stay in the NFL.
See, that's interesting because I'm actually completely on the opposite spectrum. I think Winston's going to have the great season, and I think Mariota's actually going to have not a bad season, but just not a top 20 quarterback. Because I just think that offense he's in is so bad that I don't think they have any weapons. They don't have a run game. They don't have anyone to throw.
Yeah, they got David Cobb.
Well, if he emerges, fine, but they still don't have a hit. He'll be like Terrell Pryor.
But like we said, you don't think Dorial Green Beckham will play?
No, I don't. I don't like Zach Mettenberger last
Does
year.
it
He wasn't
change?
very
Does it
good.
change your? If Dorial Green Beckham was to be the week 1 starter, does that change your theory on Marcus
Not
Mariota?
really. I just
No? Okay.
he's the only option there.
When I
Delanie Walker's is their number 1.
Yeah,
Walker's
that's
their
true.
number
He's
1
their number
target.
one
So
option.
and he gets.
When I look
get
at
a lot of
Delanie
yards for
Walker,
tight
yeah,
end,
I
too.
see a guy who gets a lot of yards. I think he was top 3 or 4
Probably, yeah,
in
yards.
yards last year as a tight end.
Touchdowns weren't there.
He doesn't have a touchdown, but when you see a yards tight end, you see of a guy who is a little bit more consistent. When you see tight end, kind of more waffling up and down. And if you want a tight end who you see consistency in, Delanie Walker's a good option because he
gets the yards. and
he's
you
bound
can't-
to get you about 50 yards a week.
It's hard if you have a tight end who gets touchdowns and not the yards because you rely on those touchdowns. But if he gets them constantly, that's not really Delanie Walker's style. He gets the yards. He's actually sort of a deep threat, you would say, for a tight end. He does get long reception. I wouldn't be surprised if he had the most receptions over probably a certain amount of yards last year.
Yeah, that'll wrap up our top 15 tight ends. You can go ahead and comment your thoughts below. Subscribe to our channel at Your Fantasy Nerd, and go check us out at yourfantasynerd.com. Have a good day, fellas.
Watch out.